I hope Charles can give me some love advice. I'm in love with a girl I met last year in my confirmation class.
Well,
But
being in love with a girl is a step up already, but go ahead.
a step up from what?
The
Oh,
norm today.
okay. Ugh. Uh, okay. I'm in love with a girl I met last year in my confirmation class, but I have no excuse to start talking to her right now, and we are still in high school. What should I do to forget about her, or to forget about it?
Oh man,
I
that
think,
brings back
yeah.
high school. Well, first, Evgenius, let me tell you, high school is a tough time because you've got all these new emotions and they're overwhelming the heart. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. Could die from them. First love, oh, there's nothing like it. Oh, oh. Well, it's easy for elderly people like myself to dismiss it as puppy love and it's no big deal and so on and so forth, except that it is a big deal for you. So I would say that firstly, you seem to be handling this like a very adult individual, which is to your credit. Adulthood is even a good thing. In my generation, we generally don't reach it before we die. So it's good, it's good that you're getting it this early. Um, focus on your hobbies, focus on your friends, presuming you have either. If you don't, cultivate some. You might start looking at some of the more approachable girls, but don't lose complete sight of this one. Why? Well, I don't know your circumstances. I don't know where you are. I don't know who your classmates are, but never a bad thing, especially when you get a bit older, um, to keep in touch with a practicing Catholic girl. They're not always as easy to find, depending on where you live. And so perhaps in 2 or 10 years, you might come back and say, "Hi, you remember me? We were in confirmation class together." Um, but for the moment, focus on doing other things. Um,
Okay. Um, that leads me to a couple questions. Why can't they be platonic friends?
well, I don't know why they can't be. I mean, don't forget, this is an extremely individual thing, and I've got to work out a very small amount. And he says he has nothing to talk to her about, no reason to, which would imply to me that they don't apparently have any common interests or common something or other. In which case, if it's a purely physical attraction, that might not be the best thing to pursue. But again, I'm reading into what he wrote, and I really can't say. Uh,
Well, for me, um, I operate under the philosophy that the person you should marry should be your best friend and the person you want to hang out with the most.
no,
Aside from romantic love and the physical attraction and everything else, take that out of the equation. Person you should marry, you know, is
no,
is the type of person where it's like, oh, I really want to get away from the old ball and chain and hang out with the guys. I don't think it should feel like that. I think you should want to always hang out with your spouse. Is
well,
that
and that's
am I somewhere close on this?
well. My father used to say that the real question was if you'd want to spend a ton of time in this girl's company if you were a eunuch, and it's a fair question.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. I think that
if,
should be the determining thing whether, a simple platonic relationship can function. Maybe it won't function. Maybe, heaven forbid it doesn't work. Well, I don't know.
you
But
know, I don't know either. I mean, there's only so much can we tell from what he told us.
right.
Um,
But it's hard. I
yeah,
I know the feeling.
and well, so do I. I'm not so old I don't remember it. One thing you've got to bear in mind again is, and this, you'll hear old people like me say it, and then one day you'll be old and you'll realize it's true. But catastrophic and enormous as these things seem at the time, they will be replaced or amplified by other things. You know, uh, it's hard to believe it now, but in 10 years, you may have a hard time remembering her name.
It's possible. And in mentoring a lot of young gentlemen and teenagers, one thing I tell them is you have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
There's no clock on this thing.
Not at all.
You,
Not at all.
you know,
Nobody with a stopwatch.
yeah. So take your time. You don't know how much life there is because you haven't lived much life yet, but you've got plenty of time.
And mind you, I can remember very well how much it felt like it all had to be now.
Yeah, it's so easy. It's so
Yeah.
easy.
It's got to be now. You do it when you're young. Young ones, darling, we're the young ones. And young ones shouldn't be afraid to live, love, while the flame is strong, for we may not be the young ones very long. Well, that's very true. We won't be. But, you seem to me already, Evgeny, to be someone who doesn't let himself get caught up in his emotions. And emotions are an important thing. Without them, life is a very dry and unpleasant place. But you must never let them direct you, because they have no judgment, those emotions, not at all. One of the traps that one often falls into in high school and college is the feeling that one's romantic life is somehow of equal import with the external world you have to function in. It's more important to go off with her than to pass this exam or to get to work on time. And see, the problem with that is that one day she may well be gone. Again, you'll have a hard time remembering her name, but you'll still be stuck with the results of a failed test or a lost job. So you've got to always try to keep a firm hand on the objective world, hard though it may be. It doesn't matter how much in love you are. You still got to get to work at time. You still got to get that term paper in.
I don't know if it's fair to say that he might forget her name. I mean, because I guess if he hasn't talked to her yet, you could classify this as a crush.
Yeah.
So you don't forget crushes' names.
Oh, I don't know. I've forgotten half of the ones I had in high school.
What?
Nah, that's true.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Must not have been much of a crush.
There's so many of them.
What's that all about?
A lot of love to give.
what? I guess so. I didn't know I didn't know crushes work like that. I have so many crushes. I just forget their names.
Well, you get obsessed over a girl for a while, and then suddenly you see someone else, and poof.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
a lot depended on how well they reacted too. I mean, yeah, bear in mind, I wasn't a huge athlete. I wasn't horribly handsome, so I had to make up for it by being understanding.
Yeah?
I was very understanding.
That would have been an interesting sight. I wish we could take a time machine and watch you be understanding.
So glad you can't.
I would pay hundreds of dollars to see you be understanding.
I'll bet you would. And the worst of it is, you probably end up saying something like, "Oh, come on, nobody could fall for a line like that." Well, you're surprised.
Oh, that's like a slap in the face to those girls.
Well, to be fair to them, most of the guys that they were dealing with at high school were not understanding.
Wow, so that's a slap in the face to both the girls and the guys.
What can I say? It left a power
What
vacuum.
a snob. What a
What? It's not my
snob.
fault.
All these stupid people around me, so I just say these
They
lines
weren't
to
stupid.
trick them and...
Do you hear yourself? That is simply not true.
What's not true?
That I was tricking them because they were stupid. And I wasn't tricking them.
What were you doing?
Helping.
Helping what?
Helping girls understand themselves.
Oh my...
What?
Oh. Delusion is the key to happiness?
Self-delusion is the key to positive thinking.
There we go.
That's right. And let me tell you something. See, you don't understand this, but there are a lot of really, really pretty girls out there who just don't feel they're appreciated for who they really are. The people are just looking, they're just interested in their looks, not their soul. And I understood that. What? All right, look, take your average cheerleader. Your average high school kid looks at her, what does he say? He just sees the bottom. He sees the face. He doesn't appreciate her as a person with dreams and hopes. And of course, those of us who do understand those aspirations and dreams realize that such a girl is not just her pretty appearance. No, we see the true person behind them. The intelligent, soulful girl who is looking for understanding and acceptance in a world that insists only on looking at her exterior.
Well, I'm glad
What?
I'm glad you could be there for those girls, Charles.
I was too. I was very glad. I'll tell you, the In and Out there in Mission Hills, that was where I'd have my counseling sessions.